All right, what the heck is freezing rain? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Are we just making up new words now? Or freezing fog? That's what it is, freezing fog. I've never heard of freezing fog before. Did I hear about it in years past? But because we live in Texas and this happens like once a decade. I walk through snow outside. You know how rarely there's snow on the sidewalk outside the American Airlines Center? I've worked here for over 2 years. This is the first time I've had to do that. But are we making up terms? Freezing fog? Come on. What is that? Because there was a new thing that they made up last week as well. This is an extreme cold warning. Okay, I understand it's going to be extremely cold, and I guess you're warning me about it. But I've never heard of that before either. And so this is, I don't know, kind of record-breaking cold. Kind of, are we making up new words just to describe things that the rest of the country sees on a regular basis? I don't know. Because the next question is, when do we get back to normal? I thought it would be today, but there is still quite a bit of ice and snow out there here in downtown Dallas. If you go a little bit east of here, it's fine. It's fine. I drove around last night, went over a bunch of bridges. None of them had ice on them. But I was east of here. I was out in Bug Tussle. And, we don't really have snow plows, but we got a lot of guys that have Ford F-250, Maverick Edition. They'll grind up the snow pretty quick for you. But here in downtown Dallas, a lot of slush. The main roads were great, actually. As long as you're on the big old highways or the medium-sized side streets. But there's no guarantees once you get on the small, like that last little part of your journey. That might be the mess. But we did have a successful James Show Snowman gallery put up at the Facebook page for WBAP. Go check that out. Janet in Mesquite was our winner. And so now we're thinking maybe the kids go back to class tomorrow. But this is going to be different depending on your geography. We have the link to that list on the front page, WBAP.com. Now, the top story nationally is the follow-up to the ice shooting that happened. Alexi Preddy, the second guy that got shot. And it's getting more polarized by some. Trump actually sounded like he was trying to calm things down. Check this out. Does this sound like a de-escalation to you? He was asked about it, and I'm sorry the audio's so bad. The microphone's far away from him, and I have no explanation on why they're playing Jerry Lee Lewis in the background, but just work with me.
Do you agree with the assessment from some of your own officials that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay, everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
What do you think of some Republicans saying?
Well, that's good, because I agree with that. We need to back off that domestic terrorist stuff. We don't like it when they sensationalize and use the most emotionally charged terms when describing us. Let's not do it to them. You got to be better than that. And if you want the temperature to cool, you have to be part of the cooling process. And one of the reasons I like that is because that's not very Trumpian. Trumpian is the guy who always mashes the gas as hard as he can. He never pulls punches. And so I don't know if this is necessarily pulling a punch, or this is sort of the negotiating tactic where, hey, I am not your enemy in this. We're going to look into this. This may be a bad shot. Who knows? But it also shows a little bit of confidence in there, because I think he feels the way I do. Whether this was a good shot or the cops made a mistake or the cops were bloodthirsty murderers, we still need to enforce our immigration laws. We still need to have someone. If the locals aren't going to do it, then ICE is going to go get these illegal criminals off the streets. And then if we run out of criminals, just get the rest of them. The laws need to be enforced. And that shouldn't be a crazy proposition. Now, the reaction to this is fantastic. Jimmy Kimmel cried on his show yesterday talking about the guy that was shot by ICE. I'm gonna play the crying part because this happened at the end, and then on the other side of the break here, he does a little 2-minute monologue. There's no jokes in it. This is a comedy show. And just maybe a good rule of thumb here, if you're running a comedy show and you end up crying, that's the opposite of funny. You have failed as a comedian. That's not a very funny bit. But here's the part where he cried.
If our leaders are intentionally creating and encouraging violence and fear, then I hope you will also agree we need new leaders, because these are not leaders. And to the people of Minneapolis, to the Preddy family and the Good family, and these people who were looking out for their neighbors, we want you to know that we are with you and you are not alone. And I'll tell you another thing. We also want to see those Epstein files already.
We want to see the Epstein files. Where does this come from? All right. You're going to love his monologue next, though, because I'm not just going to play it for you and we're going to say Jimmy Kimmel's dumb. I'm actually going to answer it in a very de-escalating fashion. Like, we will address each one of his concerns. But how bizarre is this? Is this a comedy show, or is this Fox News, or is this MSNBC? If you can't tell the difference, then it's not a comedy show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. There's no crying in comedy. There should be no crying in comedy. There's no crying in baseball. But Jimmy Kimmel went on a little rant about how the ICE shootings in Minneapolis were wrong. There's no jokes in here. At the end, there's no laughing. There's cheering, but it's not the same as laughing. Is this a political rally or a comedy show? It's the weirdest thing.
We see these videos in which we clearly see one of our fellow Americans executed by ICE, and they won't even admit that it was.
Hang on, executed. Look, he's using the most harsh word possible, the most sensational word possible. He's not even trying to be fair. He's already made up his mind. He's not waiting for an investigation. He's not admitting that, okay, maybe I can see the other side, or there's a little bit of gray area, or I understand how someone could look at that video and think that's bad, or I understand how other people can look at that video and think it's good. Nope. It's already an absolute. She was executed, and he doesn't understand if you're, he doesn't understand why you're okay with that. Not that you see that you're okay with that.
Mistake. They say the Honda SUV Renee Good was driving was weaponized. They say the gun Alex Preddy had a license to carry in an open carry state. All right, many of these same people screamed very loudly about when it was Kyle Rittenhouse carrying the gun, a gun that Alex Preddy did not even draw, did not touch.
Hang on, did Kyle Rittenhouse fight with the cops? Or did he comply with the cops? Did he interfere with the cops when they were doing their job? Or was he protecting a family friend's business from leftist rioters like you? Interesting. That's a terrible comparison. And no, having a gun's not a death warrant. I think I'm consistent between Kyle Rittenhouse and this guy. And I even admit this might be a bad shot. I think it's unfortunate. I think in the chaos of the moment, you're asking a lot for this to happen over and over and over and have no human beings make mistakes. I think this might be one of the mistakes. I can say that. I'm not talking in absolutes. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel's an evil person for his position. But what do you think Jimmy Kimmel thinks about me when I take my position or your position? It's a comedy show.
A gun that was taken from him by one of the agents before he was shot dead by the other ones. They fired 10 times on an ICU nurse. They're telling us, well, it was justified.
An ICU nurse. I heard he was unemployed at the time. I'm not sure if it's true, and it doesn't even matter. But look at how he's trying to couch him. They call Renee Good the mother, executed a mother, shot a mother in the face. Did they ever refer to Derek Chauvin and his parentage? Was he a father? Was he ever? Well, there's a father that's been accused of killing this overdosing felon. No, it was never put like that. What about, do you know the parentage of the guy who killed Michael Brown or Eric Garner or Freddie Gray? Did they even tell you if they're mothers or fathers? No. That lets you know it's propaganda. That lets you know it's an emotional argument, not a factual argument.
Is that the law and order that you voted for? If you voted for this, every day is a nightmare now.
I don't think it's a nightmare. Absolutely not. Every day's not a nightmare. In the other 49 states where ICE is operating, they're not doing this, and there's no nightmares. ICE isn't the nightmare. You people are the nightmare. You create the nightmare, then gripe that there's a nightmare.
My wife and I have family in Minneapolis. They're afraid to take their kids to school. They're afraid to go to work. And
no, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely not. They're not stopping anybody going to work unless you're an illegal immigrant, or maybe accidentally thought that you could be an illegal immigrant, but nothing happens to those people. The only bad stuff happens to the people that interfere with law enforcement officers when they're enforcing the law. And it's a tragedy that these people got themselves killed. It might even be a bad shot, but it's not like they're just taking innocent people. Hey, is that a mom taking her kid to work? I need some target practice. Let me see if I can get a headshot. Like, that's ridiculous. We continue?
I can only imagine how people who aren't white feel about this.
Oh, now it's a race thing. He did the race thing. Secret word.
How does this end? What's the plan here? Is the plan to just keep doing?
No, the plan is to deport illegal immigrant criminals first, and then the rest of the legal immigrants. That's the plan. That's what he went out and campaigned on. He's been talking about building a wall since 2015. What do you think this is about? Oh my God, you're shocked that we want to deport illegal immigrants? This guy's been elected 3 times on the platform. We're just amazed it's finally happening.
This in every city that didn't vote for Donald Trump. Does anyone on any side believe this is good leadership?
Yes.
We keep saying we need to find subjects that we can agree on. Can we agree that peaceful protesters, including moms driving SUVs on their way back after dropping their 6-year-old off at school, and a nurse who stepped in to protect a woman from harm, don't deserve to be shot dead in the street by the people?
Actually, we do agree on that. That's not what happened. It wasn't just some mom who dropped her kid off and she got caught astrayed while she was driving. She was interfering with the cops while they were trying to do their job. She was interfering with a police action where they were trying to arrest, I don't know, probably some domestic abuser or child rapist or murderer or drug trafficker or trained Arago guy. And oh yeah, he was just trying to help a woman. He's trying to assist a woman. Yeah, who was interfering with the cops. They've been following around the cops. In fact, there was a report that this guy, let me go ahead and whip this one out, that Alexi Preddy, when he was shot over the weekend, here, I'll just let CNN tell you, this is Dana Bash and some other lady, but he had injuries from a previous fight with ICE officers just not long before this.
CNN is learning that Alex Preddy had a physical encounter with federal agents about a week before he was shot and killed by law enforcement. Sources tell a group of federal officers tackled him while he was protesting. Priscilla Alvarez is breaking that story for us. What else are you hearing, Priscilla?
So yeah, he's just repeatedly attacking ICE officers and interfering with cops. This is the definition of FAFO. I'm sorry he got killed. I wish it hadn't happened. It may even be a bad shot. Someone might have to go to jail over this. But you keep doing this over and over, something really stupid. Negative consequences are going to happen, sir. Jimmy Kimmel, did you know that part? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We'll continue with the aftermath of the ICE protests and shootings, and then we're going to talk about H1-B visa fraud in the Texas university system. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. The top story on the national level is still the ICE protests and the aftermath of the ICE shootings. The top story statewide is the H1-B visa abuse that's being uncovered all over the state. And then the top story locally is, well, there's still a little bit of snow and ice around it. And what the heck is freezing fog? Are we just making words up now? This is Lawrence in Fort Worth. You're on WBAP. Hey, Lawrence.
Hey, my brother, you know what? What's pissing me off? Do these people on the left really think that America is stuck on stupid? We understand what's going on. We see what's going on. Our relatives, our friends work for Homeland Security. We support what Donald Trump is doing, and I'm going to tell you something. I really wish that Black America would be given an opportunity to say how we feel. We the descendants of slaves. We built this country, and we are the most patriotic. But look at these illegals, and look at the people who support them. They hate America. We see what's going on, and it pisses us off because you know what? At the end of the day, if you bring a gun to a demonstration and you interacting with law enforcement on a negative basis, you might lose your life. Black America understand that. Most white America understand that. There's only a small minority rather, of people who want us to believe that Trump is wrong, that ICE is wrong, that Homeland Security is wrong. At the end of the day, America is a better place because of what Trump and Homeland Security is doing. The damn illegals are trying to take over. They want this to become a third world country. We understand that, and it pisses us off. And Jimmy Kimmel, that dude needs to go stick his head in a toilet and continually flush it. That's how I feel about that rat. He's a rat.
All right. Thank you very much, Lawrence. Good job. Lawrence in Fort Worth. Always good to hear from. All right. Now, my next guest is a guy who this keeps happening over and over. These independent journalists are uncovering fraud that you think, or maybe not fraud, just abuse at least, that you think ABC, NBC, CBS would be all over this. You think with some big newspaper or magazine or one of the old legacy media. No, it's just regular guys who probably live down the street from you or just grinding it out in their home office. And I'm going to introduce you to another one here. His name's Kellen Jones, and I found him through Dallas Express, but he has his own thing going on called Cowtown Caller. Well, hey, Kellen, nice to meet you. Well, Kellen, I'm having you on today because of your awesome reporting on how much A&M has spent hiring H1-B workers. Right. Yeah, so you were showing some of the job listings that were being filled by people from India, and it's like a communications job. There was like a graphic designer job. It was like an accountant. It's like, you mean to tell me out of a university with 70,000 students, literally the largest university in America, they have to go all the way to India to find the nearest graphic designer? Yeah, so no one believes that. What's their excuse? So, do we have reason to believe this could be happening at pretty much every big public university in Texas? All right, Kellen Jones, can you sit tight? We're going to take a quick break. We'll continue with Kellen Jones. You know him as Cowtown Caller online, and we're going to continue in his investigation into H1-B visa abuse at Texas A&M. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. The governor has halted H1-B visas for Texas universities. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're continuing with my guest, Kellen Jones. He is the Cowtown caller, and I saw his report through the Dallas Express that the H1-B visa use at Texas A&M alone is incredibly questionable. And then you extrapolate that out. If this is happening at most public universities in Texas, we're talking about thousands of jobs, taxpayer-funded jobs. Your money is being taken from you and given to someone. They're flown over here, and we just set them up with a salary. At least they're teaching a class or something. It's better than what's going on with the Somali daycare, I suppose, but it's not a whole lot different here. The taxpayers are on the hook for people that are replacing them. These are jobs that you could have. These are jobs that your spouse, your son, your daughter, your brother-in-law, these are jobs that would go to Texans, but now we're subsidizing foreigners to take jobs. Make it make sense, Kellen. Exactly. Yeah. All right, Kellen Jones, why Indians? I understand why we have so many illegal Hispanics here because geographically they can just walk here. But India, that's on the other side of the planet. Why aren't we bringing in people from Ireland or England or Morocco or Moldova? Like why India? What do we do about it? All right, you have a report on Dallas ISD coming out soon. When do we expect that? Where do we find it? Where at? Thank you very much. This is Kellen Jones. I know him as the Cowtown Caller on X, but now he works with our friends over at Dallas Express. How cool is that? Also, his work got mentioned in the Battalion. So for my Aggie friends out there in Aggie Nation, y'all know what the Battalion is, your newspaper. So you can go check that out. If you don't believe me, don't believe Kellen, you can get it from the Bat themselves. All right, your thoughts on H1-B visas being used by universities and schools in Texas? Are you seeing this where you're at? Because we don't see a whole lot of this out where I am, but this seems to be clustering around the big cities and the big universities. So do you see an influx of Indian H1B visas in your industry? Is this happening in more than just colleges and the software companies up in Frisco? How bad is this? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. We're going to continue talking about H1B visa abuse in Texas next on The James Show. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. So more H1-B scandals in Texas. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. And if you're just joining us, my previous guest, Kellen Jones from Dallas Express, was sharing the findings of his report on how many H1-B visas are being employed by the Texas university system. Now, just when you look at Texas A&M, we're talking about hundreds of jobs that could be going to people in Texas, could be going to you. It could be why your field's a little stagnant, why your career hasn't picked up. Maybe the guy who's in the seat above you could have gotten picked off to be some sort of professor, or, some of these jobs you definitely don't need an H-1B visa for. You don't need to bring in someone from India to find a graphic designer that's unemployed in Texas, or a communications specialist, whatever the heck that means, and a teacher's assistant, or whatever these little menial jobs are. Here you have it again. The government is taking money from you, bringing people in from another country and giving it to them. What in the heck is going on? And then you have the foresight of seeing that his next report is going to be how this is being repeated in Dallas ISD and the public school system across Texas at a time when 1/4 of the country is either unemployed or underemployed, at a time when a lot of people feel like their job has stagnated, their career has been stuck in the mud or gone backwards. We're giving thousands and thousands of good-paying, solid, skilled jobs to foreigners, and we're doing it at your expense through the school system. You people think I'm crazy when I say we need to get rid of public schools, or we need to get rid of the Department of Education, and what's your answer to that? 800-288-9227. This is Victor in Rockwall. You're on WBAP.
Good morning. I was calling about I guess we'll call it a scandal, the abuse, whatever, the fraud. The harmonic institutes that are popping up all over the Dallas area, especially the one here in Garland. I went there about 10 years ago because my kids are of high school age. I got an advertisement in the mail. I went there and I asked them about their schedules. And I asked about band or football or sports. And then was laughed at me when I asked about that because they said they concentrated only on academic stuff. And then I don't know if they were, did not know what they were talking about, or I actually did not realize what they were saying. They were telling me that they had a high turnover of teachers, that every year they got new ones. I asked why, and they said because they imported or they emigrated new teachers every year from either Turkey or India to go ahead and teach. And then when I asked around more, or some of the parents that were there, they told me that these teachers, they come out here like they teach for a year, and then they don't report back, or they don't go back to their countries, and they just blend into the community. I didn't like the way that sounded, so I did not put my kids there.
This is a great report, Victor. This is exactly what I'm asking for. Kellen Jones, are you still listening to this? You need to get on this. What was the name of the school? Harmony?
Harmonic, okay. To me. Harmonic Institute.
Harmonic Institute. I see Harmonic Legacy Institute. Is that what we're talking about, or is that something else? Nope, that's not it. No, that's not it. We'll find it. We'll find it.
No. In fact, this one was the Harmonic Institute. I think it was from Birmingham over in Garland. That's the one that I went to.
Okay, that helps a lot. Victor, have you shared this story before? Does it just fall on deaf ears, or what?
I shared it with other parents, and they said that they wanted their kids to go just learn stuff, and just that they were not interested in band or in drill team or dance, that they wanted their kids just to get a better education. So they put their kids in. I'm not saying all of them, but I know that there's a number of them that did go there. There's no busing, you have to go ahead and drive your kid there. But like I said, I just didn't like the idea that most of the teachers would just go and blend away in society, and they'd go ahead and immigrate more teachers the next year from either Turkey or India.
Yeah, well, this is a very devious part of our immigration problem, because it's really hard to argue in favor or in defense of illegal immigration. And now what you've technically described here sounds like it has a veneer of being legal. They overstay their visas. That's not the same thing as the big horde of people that are a migrant caravan coming up from the southern border. But, we probably get in more people this way than, with foot traffic.
That's correct. And as I said, yes, I guess it's legal for the first year. After that, I think that that's contributing to the illegal population that is still in our country, overstaying their visas. That's illegal one way, illegal the other way. It's still illegal.
Man. Okay, so my that sounds like one brief brush I've had with people coming here on visas. I dated this girl whose roommate was from Italy, and she had a bunch of Italian friends. And oh, dude, they were so funny because they actually talk like this all the time. Like, let's go. And what they would do is that they would come over here and they would go to college. Sometimes actually finish college, but sometimes just go for a semester. And then, once their visa was over, they would just stay. Now they couldn't participate fully in society, but it was better than going back to Italy. And a few of them had jobs that would pay cash and things like that. But yeah, I think that's small.
It must be happening a lot because, well, like I said, okay, it must be happening a lot because the population, the Indian population in Saxe, Texas, in McKinney, Texas, it's exploding now. I'm just wondering how come so many Indians are coming to Texas? Okay, I know they're against Indians. I have something against illegal immigration to the USA. That's what I have a problem with. Not against any people, just illegal immigration to the U.S.
Well, I think we all appreciate that report because, if you want to know what the negative consequences of unfettered immigration of people who come and don't assimilate and they keep their religion and their language and their culture, ask how that worked out for the Indians. Coming up next, viral videos. Trump people are stupid and Scott Jennings defending himself on CNN. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Can't we all just get along? Who was the genius who said that? Oh, right. Rodney King, right? Was he a mathematician, physicist, astronaut, I think, something to that effect. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, calling for de-escalation. Trump seemed to be leaning toward that when he was asked about the Preddy shooting. He kind of wanted to push back against the, domestic terror stuff.
Do you agree with the assessment from some of your own officials that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay, everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
What do you think of some Republicans saying?
So check that out. It's not like Trump to de-escalate. He usually doesn't mind throwing gas on the fire, talking in the most extreme terms possible. So I like this calculation. So let's go look at what's going on the other side. And I know this is just kind of cherry picking some guys that sound goofy, but this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that needs to stop.
Every day I become more and more convinced that whether you support Trump or not is not an issue of left versus right. It is literally an IQ test at this point, and if you still support what this administration is doing, you have failed that test. You are looking at human rights violations left and right, atrocities happening in our streets, masked men pulling women and children and people who maybe aren't documented properly, but also U.S. citizens, out of vehicles violently, out of their homes and schools and churches violently. If you still support that, it's not about immigration law. It's about loving the cruelty of it, feeling vindicated by the mistreatment of others. And that is a condition of the mind that is a sickness, okay? And that cruelty is not, there should be no place for that in our country, in our democracy, in the US. We don't get to have both.
But see, that's not what you believe. That's not what I believe. They're raging against this straw man, this caricature that they've been told by the media. Do they not even talk to you? Does anybody think it's okay for just a mom who's driving back from dropping her kid off at school to get shot in the head for no reason? Absolutely no one takes that position. Now, our sympathy goes down quite a bit if you're interfering with law enforcement while they're doing a very dangerous job apprehending illegal immigrant criminals, especially in the snow when it's 1 degree outside and when there's a bunch of people who are blowing whistles and screaming obscenities at you and blocking them in with their car. You're asking for trouble. I'm not saying they had it coming or I'm glad they died. Definitely not celebrating. I don't think anybody is. But we all have to de-escalate here. Left-wingers, we are not racist, fascist, bigot, homophobes. To all the right-wingers out there, the other side is not all represented by the lady you just heard. I think most of our friends that vote for Team Blue are not that crazy. I think most of them wouldn't dare go mess with law enforcement while they're in the middle of arresting criminals. But I guess we need them to speak up a little bit more. I'll tell our side to calm it down. You need to tell your side to calm it down. The problem is, calming it down means changing the verbiage and the lexicon they've been using to describe you for decades. That's going to be really tough for these people. Scott Jennings on CNN got the best job in the world. The only guy right at a table full of 4 people. Listen to how much they interrupt him and they straw man and they aggressively misrepresent his position over and over and over. And he just somehow stays calm and keeps going.
Scott Jennings, those comments there from Greg Abbott of Texas, not nothing.
Yeah, look, I don't know what, I mean, some of these are general, and I don't know exactly what they mean by it. I'd be curious to know what they would have the president do. He's in a little bit of a strange situation here because...
Would you have him not do what he just said he's going to do, which is de-escalate a little bit?
I don't know what that means either. I mean, what's a little bit mean? I don't know what that means. I mean, I would just caution all these people. You cannot let an angry mob nullify federal law in a jurisdiction If
You
they
mean
do
you
that,
mean the American
if they
people?
if
Is
they
that what
do
the angry mob is? The
if
American people.
these people in
You hear
Minneapolis aren't
that?
angry.
Look, he just kept going. He didn't bite. That was a total straw man argument. Lady, of course he doesn't mean the American people. He means the violent mob. Oh, really? The American people you fight against? Oh, here, I'm going to start it over. Just to let you know what a sinister move that is. What an absolute intellectual shortcut that is. So you don't actually have to debate Scott Jennings on the merit of his argument. What you do is you reframe his argument to where it's something that's not defendable, but something he doesn't believe. Accuse him of it and make himself defend himself from those comments. Does everyone not see through this?
Scott Jennings, those comments there from Greg Abbott of Texas, not nothing.
Yeah, look, I don't know what, I mean, some of these are general, and I don't know exactly what they mean by it. I'd be curious to know what they would have the president do. He's in a little bit of a strange situation here because.
Would you have him not do what he just said he's going to do, which is de-escalate a little bit?
I don't know what that means either. I mean, what's a little bit mean? I don't know what that means. I mean, I would just caution all these people. You cannot let an angry mob nullify federal law in a jurisdiction. If
You
they
mean
do
you
that,
mean the American
if they-
people?
if
Is
they
that what
do
the
that-
angry mob is? The
if-
American people.
These people in Minneapolis are an angry mob, whether you like it or not. They don't like the fact that the president is enforcing longstanding federal immigration
Does
law.
that mean they should be
That's
shot
what
on the
they-
street,
that's-
Scott?
No,
That's the question that we're talking about,
debate,
right?
The debate is about what the president's going to do next. And if you were to let them win and you were to be run out of town, what do you think would happen in LA, Chicago, New York, all over the country? You're
So
either
you
going
don't
to
think
choose
what happened
to
to Alex
enforce the
Freddie
law
was
or you're not.
problematic? I mean,
Do I think it's problematic? Of course it's problematic.
Okay,
Let me
is it-
stop it right there. So there's another spot right there where they very obviously tried to reframe his position into something he doesn't believe to make him argue against the straw man. Oh, so you believe that wasn't problematic? He never said that, and he doesn't believe that. But they get to say that out loud, and they get to use that as sort of a way for them in their own head to dismiss his argument. Oh, well, he says no.
Be run out of town. What do you think would happen in LA, Chicago, New York, all over the country? You're
so
either
you
going
don't
to
think
choose
what
to
happened to
enforce
Alex
the
Freddie
law
was
or you're not.
problematic? I mean,
Do I think it's problematic? Of course it's problematic.
okay, was it wrong?
Anytime
Like,
someone
how far are you
dies,
willing to go?
anytime someone dies, it's problematic. But what they're asking for
Is it wrong?
is for federal
Is
law
it
enforcement
wrong?
to be sent out of town.
Is it wrong?
And that no federal laws
Is
be
it
enforced.
wrong?
Was what happened to Alex Preddy on the street wrong?
Was it wrong?
Was it wrong?
I'm waiting for an investigation, which I fully support. I don't know what the circumstances were.
If
I
there
don't
was a
like seeing it.
Democratic president in the White House, would you be able
Would
to
I
say
want an
it was
investigation?
wrong?
Would I want an Of course I would. I don't like that people have died. I don't like this chaos. But I also don't like the idea that we're just going to say, well, in this one little territory, we're not going to enforce federal laws anymore. That doesn't strike me as a good idea for the president right now. So he's got a tricky situation. It's very complex, but being run out of town by an angry mob to me is not an option.
Ugh, the man is a national treasure. How fun would it be to have his job? Wouldn't you just love that? Be the only right person at a table of 5 people. It's like you're arguing with people. No, 2 + 2 is 5. I'm telling you, you're wrong. So what are you trying to say? That you don't believe in gravity? That you can divide by 0? No, I'm saying 2 + 2 is 4. No, wrong. Is that wrong? Is that wrong? I just love that. I want that job. That is so great. Can I just do that in the evenings after I get done with the James Show? I'll hop over to CNN. I'd love to be that guy. Coming up next, Texas is going to be the site of the second largest ICE detention facility. They're building a new one over in Hutchins. Some local faith leaders don't like it. I don't like it either. I think we should have the biggest. I don't know. Why the second biggest? You'll hear it next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. So in Hutchins, there's plans to build what will end up being the second largest ICE facility, ICE detention center in the country. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of disappointing. I would be more happy if it was the biggest. I mean, we're Texas, right? Shouldn't we have the biggest ICE detention facility? It should make Alligator Alcatraz look like a softball park. What was the other one? Louisiana lockup. All right, yeah, I know. Get excited. Not everyone likes the idea, though. Some local woke preachers were speaking out against it. And, here we are again. Wouldn't you cringe a little bit if your pastor, the pastor at your church, was out speaking on a clearly political issue? You're allowed to have an opinion on, I guess, the general concepts of statecraft and justice, and I guess every once in a while it could overlap. But going to bat for what? Preventing us from enforcing our immigration laws? I don't understand that one. And it's kind of annoying how people the other 364 days a year make fun of Christianity or Christians or call you Christian bigots or Christo-fascists. And then they throw it back at you like, how you call yourself a Christian if you don't support that? Hang on a second. I thought that was bad. So it's a very frustrating situation you find yourself in. So I am somewhat amused when I read in the Dallas Express that some of these local faith leaders are now in opposition to the ICE facility. Dallas Observer had a good little write-up on it too. But the nation's second largest immigration detention center would be just 12 miles south of downtown Dallas. I don't want to call anybody out, but there's a guy who's a minister in Hutchins, and then a guy who's at a Methodist church in, I guess that's the Oak Cliff area. They were speaking out, and they were saying just the regular complaints. Well, Hutchins doesn't have the infrastructure. It doesn't have the water supply, the sewage drainage to accommodate a facility this big. Well, fine, then we'll build it. Okay, it's the federal government. They have $80 billion in the ICE budget this year. They can probably dig a couple ditches with that money. Now, if it's completely full, this facility will house 9,500 people. Sounds good. Also sounds a little weird, the fact that we supposedly have, 20 million illegal immigrants, and our second largest detention facility is 9,500. Okay, so this is just going to be like a temporary stop off on the way home, I imagine. I hope. But that's pretty cool. Who wouldn't want this? Look, they've got to put it somewhere. They've got to detain them somewhere. And if they do it in our backyard, then we get all the jobs that come with it. We get a lot of money infused into the economy from that. That's a good thing. But there's an organization. Now, I've not heard of this before. This is my first story in dealing with the CLEAR, CLEAR, that stands for Clergy League for Emergency Action and Response. You know what? I don't want my pastor being part of any goofy political action committee. This is cringe all the way around. Dallas Observer reported that another quote from one of the pastors, the woke pastors, said, if we sit back and do nothing, if we think that it can't happen where we live, if you just can't imagine that it would never happen in your own hometown, that it could be the next city, the next community that faces it. Faces what? Detaining illegal immigrants? Enforcing your immigration law? I don't think that's the hellscape you're trying to paint here. That sounds like the most normal thing in the world. If you think it can't happen in your community, that you what? Actually enforce the laws on the books that we've gone over and over and over to the ballot box to send people up there to write and defend in court and then to enforce? We elected this dude 3 times in a row. I mean, the second time didn't really count, but we elected this guy 3 times in a row on this platform almost exclusively. And how are you shocked? Can you believe you want this coming to your community? Dude, we've been begging for this to come to our community. There's also a complaint here that the proposed Hutchins facility would dwarf existing regional centers. Well, maybe we can expand those while we're at it. None of the arguments against this make sense, but they get so emotional about it. I find that fascinating. And what sort of safe space have you been living in that you think the rest of your neighbors would be upset that they're building a facility to house illegal immigrants? Can you believe that they're enforcing immigration laws? Can you believe it? I think that's scary, and I can't have any opposing opinions. It's just like the safe space on South Park.
Everyone likes me and thinks I'm great in my safe space.
My safe space.
People don't judge me and haters don't hate in my safe space.
Your safe space.
Bulletproof windows, troll safe doors, nothing but kindness in here.
You might call me a but I won't hear you in my safe space. My safe space.
Bulletproof windows.
How detached from reality do these people have to be just over and over? Is this what you voted for? Yes, this is what we voted for. In fact, I'm kind of disappointed. It's only going to be the second biggest facility. Are you offended? Are you upset that they might build the second biggest ICE facility in the nation in Hutchins? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, the district attorney in Philadelphia didn't get the memo on de-escalation. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Let's talk about de-escalation for a second. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm a big fan of de-escalation. I think you and I have been asking for de-escalation for a long time. Can we de-escalate? Can we not call each other racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe? Can we asked for de-escalation after Trump got shot. We asked for de-escalation after Trump had a second attempt on his life. We asked for de-escalation after Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck and assassinated in front of all of our faces. We asked for de-escalation after there was a anti-ICE shooting in McAllen. We asked for de-escalation after the anti-ICE shooting in Alvarado. We asked for de-escalation after the anti-ICE shooting in Dallas, just about 4 miles from where I'm sitting right now. We've been begging for de-escalation. And now they have just the gall to say we need to de-escalate things. You need to get ICE off the streets. You guys are getting a little crazy out there. Okay. Let's see if the district attorney, the prosecutor in Philadelphia, let's see if he got the de-escalation memo.
This is a small bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are.
Great.
In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you. We will achieve justice.
Don't think that counts as de-escalation. And then in the next breath, he's probably going to say, well, why are they wearing masks? This is why they're wearing masks. You people are threatening to hunt them down for the rest of their lives, dox them, harass their families. Are you nuts? Also, it's really cold in Minneapolis. But here's a story out of West Virginia. That rhetoric that you hear, I'm not even sure if he believes it. But there are some weak-minded people out there, some people who don't have the strongest gray matter floating around up in their brain. They believe it. WOWK, West Virginia. Listen to this one.
A Ripley librarian was arrested over the weekend on terroristic threat charges after she allegedly led a social media scheme to make plans and then recruit others to assassinate United States President Donald Trump. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says 39-year-old Morgan Morrow was arrested Sunday after an investigation found statements made on the internet linked to her, suggesting a plot to assassinate Trump. That TikTok post included the phrase, quote, "Surely a sniper with a terminal illness can't be a big ask out of 343 million. Whoa. Sheriff Ross Mellinger says threatening comments of that nature were found on multiple online platforms. He says social media only amplifies this type of intolerable violence.
When you saddle up on the horse of stupidity, you have to be prepared for the ride that follows. And that's kind of where we're at with it. It clearly crossed the line. And we're just trying to do our part and making sure that it's not acted upon and there's no one that's following her footsteps to try to carry out the plan.
According to a criminal complaint, Morrow, who was a librarian at the Jackson County Public Library, did admit to posting the statement and in planning to personally carry out anything. Morrow was formally charged with the felony of making terroristic threats and transported to South Central Regional Jail. Her bond has been set at $75,000.
I wonder if she made any terroristic threats and assassination plots against previous presidents that were deporting people. What about Obama when he deported more people than Trump? What about Clinton when he deported more people than Obama? No, just this guy, huh? So you don't hate ICE and hate deportations and call it Nazis and literally Hitler to enforce our immigration laws unless it's this guy. So is there really something wrong with deportations and ICE? No? There's something wrong with these people. Why now? Then that's the question we all have juggling in our heads. Why now? Why is this all of a sudden the biggest human tragedy in the world? You've heard on the James Show and you've heard it elsewhere on WBAP and across media. The clips from Obama 15 years ago, the clips from Hillary and Bill Clinton and the media and basically everybody now who's saying this is the actions of literally Hitler, they used to agree with this. It used to be unanimous. Well, we have immigration laws. We have to enforce them. What do you want us to do? So the only real explanation is that they've been taught this. I had a guy call in yesterday. He was great. He was from the left. He was like, no, the problem is ICE changed. ICE is now acting like Nazis. They were nice guys under Obama. They were nice guys under Clinton. They were nice guys until Trump got in there. And now they're Nazis. Now they're pushing people to the ground. It's like, well, They killed 56 people under Obama. Can you name any of them? Were they being harassed? Were people blowing whistles at them? Were they blocking them in? Were they interfering with them? Because those are the only people getting hurt now. And if it is a problem with ICE, why isn't it happening in the other 49 states? Why is it just happening there where they're being agitated? The problem is with the agitators. And the problem is they just believe the people in the media who, after their entire lives, didn't care about this and excused it, now told them this is the worst thing in the world. They are the stormtroopers from Star Wars getting fooled by a Jedi mind trick.
How long have you had these droids?
About 3 or 4 seasons.
They're up for sale if you want them.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
And that's the weirdest part. Like, things that were true your entire life. How can you forget to know that you knew for your entire life that you weren't supposed to take a vaccine that hadn't been tested for at least 3 years? In fact, it was illegal to take any medicine that hadn't been tested for at least 3 years and got an FDA approval. How can you forget for your entire life that men can't have babies? Now all of a sudden they can. How can you forget for your entire life that ICE was deporting people? They go into houses, they pick them up. Sometimes they have children with them. Sometimes those children get put in detention centers. They're not concentration camps. They're not being kidnapped. They're not being trafficked. ICE isn't kidnapping children off the street. They just got told. Now they've been retrained. No. This vaccine will get us out of the pandemic. No. Men can have babies. Yes, men can have babies. Yes, ICE enforcing immigration laws is literally Hitler. Enforcing immigration laws is literally Hitler. Move along. I'm James Parker. That's going to do it for the James Show. Come back. I'll be on again at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins is taking over. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.